All right, welcome everybody. So today we've got the following panel, a great team. We've got Lude Trappe. He's the co-founder and CGO of MagnetAI. We're also joined by Michael, CEO of Zero-G Labs. We're joined with Collin. He's the core contributor of Dabl.Club. And we've got Ben, the CEO of Talus. So yeah, we'll get right into it. Cool. So maybe can we all give a little brief introduction, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Let me start. As already said by Maddie, I'm Lude. I'm co-founder and CGO at MagnetAI. I'm professionally in the crypto space for the last almost 4 years now. And at MagnetAI, we provide or built the very first ModelFi protocol, which allows model creators to tokenize their model and AI users to become a part of this AI model. But I'm sure you will learn more about it in this panel.
Hey everyone, Michael, CEO and co-founder of Zero-G Labs. Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me, MagnetAI. Zero-G builds the first modular AI chain, with our first product being the fastest programmable data availability layer on the market today. And so that's a mouthful, so we'll go into why that's important and so on. But the key idea is that we need to build data infrastructure that really scales for on-chain AI. So if you want to do things like on-chain model training, you're dealing with tens of gigabytes per second and data need. And today's best-in-class systems are somewhere in the 1 to 10 megabytes per second. So we close that gap and make that possible.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Collin Lowenburg. Nice to meet you. I'm a core contributor to the Dabl.Club. We are an open source community. We're funded partially by Polygon Labs. So part of what we're trying to do is grow and maintain that community of developers that are building on Polygon, but we also want to expand. And so we've actually been hosting AI and VR meetups in San Francisco and around the world. So we have 112 different cities where developers meet up. And it's my job to make sure that they have the programming, and we bring AI from these little nucleuses around the world and these companies that are innovating in the space and help them grow and get those developers onto their chains or onto their developer tools. So if you're here for the hackathon, come find me because I'm looking for a hackathon team to join and help.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Ben Frigon, and we're building Talus. Talus is a new special purpose L1 for AI smart agents. And we're starting with a very specific use case, and that's generative AI today is pretty cool, AI that can produce data for you. But the next big unlock for AI is going to be AI that can transfer value. And we feel that the best way to do that is using blockchain technology and optimizing for common assets living on a common data substrate, optimizing for composability. So we think that this is a great new use case that only AI, combining AI and crypto together, can solve.
Okay, thank you everybody. Welcome to the panel. I think it's a very exciting time to be involved in AI, Web3, and we've got some great builders surrounding us, right? So maybe we'll start by talking about AI on-chain and infrastructure. So AI is gaining significant traction in the bull run. Currently, it seems like that's likely to continue. My first question for you guys, I want to find out how you guys think merging AI with blockchain technology will work, right? So what problems can be solved and how do we think AI and crypto can benefit each other? All of you here today are deeply involved with driving value in the space. I'm sure we're all very curious to hear what you guys have to say. So let's jump right in. I'll ask maybe MagnetAI's co-founder question first. So Lude, can you share with us where you see the strongest synergies and potential of combining blockchain with AI?
Sure. I think on a high-level perspective, there are basically two major scenarios where blockchain and AI can benefit from each other. On one hand, AI technology definitely can make blockchain better and improve on that side. But on the other way around, blockchain technology and even principles of Web3 culture can also be used to improve the current state of AI, for example, to make it more open or more transparent. We at MagnetAI, we do focus on the economic issues of the current AI industry, and we want to provide a decentralized alternative to the traditional economic life cycle of AI projects. And most of the AI projects actually start as an open source project and over time become more and more commercialized. And this process of commercialization usually is driven by centralized players and obviously their resources, which eventually will lead in a high degree of centralization in terms of ownership, in terms of influence on the development process, but also in terms of value extraction. And we want to provide an alternative to that. And we are introducing a ModelFi concept, which basically brings different stakeholders together to create value and also to capture this value together. So we basically enable that through the principle of tokenization, which means that AI creators basically can tokenize their model. And like Luke, our CEO, already explained earlier in his keynote, when we talk about models at MagnetAI, we don't just include the traditional models, but with that we also mean AI agents, AI bots, and even the underlying knowledge base. And all of this basically creates financial opportunities for stakeholders involved. But we're not just talking about the financial opportunities and incentives, but we are also talking about that users can become a part of their favorite AI model via this tokenization. And in fact, they actually can take part in governance to decide about the future of this specific AI product. And they can be eligible for revenue share and enjoy other ownership benefits. And AI creators, on the other hand, basically have an opportunity via those token issuing to create an early community and also to capture on the future value of their product to secure the future development of it. And this basically means that we want to provide a sharing economy where we bring different stakeholders together in one unified platform to create synergies, to create value, and also to capture this value and distribute this value within the community in the most transparent way. And that's how we want to contribute to the future AI. Thanks.
Okay. Exciting stuff. Thank you very much for that, Lude. We'll move on to Michael now. So next to the economic aspects, what are some other typical components or characteristics needed to make an open on-chain AI happen?
Transparency, verifiability, provenance. So imagine you have societal type of use cases, and let's say you have an AI agent 10, 20 years from now running some type of production system. Hey, I need to produce like X amount of humanoid robots, X amount of driverless cars, and so on. And in a centralized world, especially if it's a hyper-intelligent agent, can just say like, hey, I've actually done this. Here are all the centralized database entries, and I can prove it to you. So you have to trust the model. But then in reality, nothing happened. So what's the agent doing? It's basically cheating. And so that's very hard in a blockchain environment. Something has to happen. There's an entry. You can verify it. Other people can verify it and actually say that, hey, these things aren't happening. Something's going wrong here. We need to punish the model or agent by slashing or actually giving it some type of economic incentives to actually play in a very fair environment. So blockchains are ideally suited for that to come together, because then you can actually say, well, how was this model trained? Where is the training data coming from? What kind of labeling decisions were made? What kind of cleaning decisions were made? Where's the model hosted? What version of the model is running? What weights were used in this model? And then in real time, even see what decisions are being made. And you can even have another AI agent saying like, hey, is something going wrong? And have complete visibility into it. So for big societal use cases, I say it's absolutely 100% need to be on a blockchain.
Thanks again, Michael. Collin, this next one's for you. So what actions do you think can be taken to maintain a balance between open source initiatives and commercial viability in AI development?
Well, I think we have to put some pressure on our leaders. The leaders in our space, I'll call them out, OpenAI, right? They kind of sparked this interest in AI by launching ChatGPT, which was just a prototype. That they built for their DevRel. And it took off, and now we have a giant company that is actually closed AI. And so I see it has also sparked a second wave of AI interest, which is, I think, maybe we, instead of using the word open AI, we call it open AGI, which is this concept of, artificial general intelligence, the next level, the point that we're all working towards, the singularity, right? And I don't think we want to get to a point, like it's going to happen. I think we all believe AGI is coming. Yeah, that dog is really cute.
He's called Bob Ross, for anyone asking.
So I started a dog company. That's how I got like big into tech. I made a dog app. We got 40,000 downloads, so people could rent other people's dogs in San Francisco, Montreal, Toronto. 40,000 people downloaded it, and then COVID came and killed my startup. But now I'm looking back, and we still have people messaging us. They want dogs. So why don't I just open source our code base? It's terrible. It's the worst code I've ever written in React Native. But I should open source it to help other people build the same company. And if there was a licensing model or a way that I could then profit from that, that would be more fair. So I think we need to push the leaders in our community to take action and support open source. Facebook has done that, or Meta rather, has done that by releasing Llama. And I think Hugging Face is a great community, but I think we need to also look at the blockchain industry and see how we've made open source profitable and sustainable to build communities like we have in Ethereum, where we have a lot of money and a lot of investment coming into the space, and it's all for open source projects. So I think we're doing it right in Web3, and AI can learn, and blockchain can be the solution to enable open AGI, enable us to protect the open source contributors and give them their duly noted tokens.
Yep, I think everybody here fully agrees with that, especially the Web3 aspect. Ben, next question's for you. So what's next, in your opinion, for crypto and AI? And how will the landscape look like in five years' time? And how do we make sure we don't lose the average user on the way?
Well, let me say first of all that all of the answers that were given for different iteration of kind of the same question, like why does AI need to be on chain? These were all fantastic answers, and we all share similar theses about why crypto and AI need to come together. Around data provenance, data sovereignty. When we think about at Talus the inputs of AI, right? Like the three most basic building blocks of AI at a high level are the compute used to train your model, the data that your model is trained on, and then what kind of model you're running. And we think that AI is an incredible technology, right? It's probably the most incredible technology. It could end up being the most incredible technology ever created, but it's particularly susceptible to many of the centralization vectors that have taken over Web 2, right? And we all have a lot of problems with Web 2. That's why a lot of us are here. So if going back to those three inputs, who has all of the compute in Web 2, right? What organizations have all the money to subsidize CapEx very early on in a project's history and buy up a bunch of H100s and FPGAs? You guys probably don't have H100s just lying around your house. If you do, you're really in good shape. Who has all of the data in Web 2? Obviously, right? The incentive at the beginning of Web 2 was to leave as much open data on the internet as possible to optimize for search. And this has caused so many problems for users as Web 2 has advanced. And then, we already talked a little bit about models, right? Models, like any other kind of software, can be open to collaboration, trained on open data, or they can be treated as an industry secret, trained on closed source proprietary data. I think the world is a much better place if we can all look at AI. Like you talk about alignment, right? What's the best way to make sure AI is aligned? It's by adding verifiable compute to it. And making sure that users can see the weights, see the data that it's trained on. So that's all very important to us at Talus, and it's good to know that there are other builders for whom this is also important. So going into your question, what is crypto and AI going to look 5 years from now? I think the possibilities are endless. Whatever you imagine, 10x it. I'll answer that question from the builder side, since most of us here are builders, and then from the end user side, so like the average Joe using AI. For builders, at Talus, we're trying to create a hub for smart agents and liquidity to come together to create great products for people, and trying to create the best DevX possible. We're using the Move language and the Move VM to give builders the best tools possible to build smart agents. I think that agentic frameworks are going to change completely what building looks like in the future. Sam Altman talks all the time about in the next 5 years, are we going to have a one-person billion-dollar startup? I would lean a lot on the less than 5 years part of that. And that's going to be enabled by agentic frameworks that create a new agentic economy where if you're a builder, you need minimal human interaction, right? Minimal social coordination, because a lot of this work is taken on by smart agents. So that's on the builder side. I think agentic frameworks are really going to change what building and delivering products looks like. For the end user, we're really focused that Talus is a consumer it enables consumer applications that anyone can use. So I think most people just want to be able to use a smart agent with minimal knowledge of Web3. So creating the best UX possible is certainly something we're focused on. In 5 years, what would I really like to see personally? One that I've talked about before is a flights smart agent. So this is something that I don't think anybody has a good experience booking flights. A lot of people aren't necessarily very happy with airlines and how that whole process goes. So I'd like to see in the future a smart agent that, say you want to fly from New York to LA, you tell that to an agent, you give a time window for when you want to leave, and you say, I don't want to spend more than $600. And the next thing you know, flight's booked for you. So that would be not only an end use case for the Talus roadmap, but it would also be something really cool that's Web 2.5. So we're starting with Web 3 use cases, creating agents around DeFi, for instance, or decentralized governance. But I would like to see this extrapolated, sent out to as many Web 2 and Web 2.5 use cases as possible for people.
Okay, there's a lot of builders here, so maybe someone will be getting on that idea. So we'll get onto the next section about community-driven things regarding AI and Web3. So we'll talk about the challenges that we might face within AI in the modern day. So we'll start with Michael again. We'll bring it around. So Michael, what are the risks associated with centralized AI systems, and how can blockchain provide solutions to help mitigate those risks?
I talked a little bit about it, but basically this element of being able to cheat. And then imagine kind of like a horror scenario. You've got an AI agent training another model that then trains another agent that goes into a humanoid robot, and you have no idea what just happened in that chain. So that could potentially end up really, really badly if not calibrated correctly. And so the risk of centralized AI is there. Also, let's say you have a handful of companies basically controlling pretty much everything in economies across the world. Somebody might at the top say, like, wouldn't it be cool if we control more of it? And there's kind of this moral hazard type of argument. So we need a counterbalancing force to that. And community-driven, community-owned AI, completely open AI for societal use cases is exactly that. So that it's not just abundance for a handful of companies with a lot of shareholders, where it becomes like an extractive relationship, but really abundance for all. A world where we have lots and lots of abundance, and some of my professors gesture that in 2 generations you might not have to work for a living anymore. So what does a world like that look like, when we can actually really choose what we want to pursue? We don't have to work for a paycheck, but we work for fun, for enjoyment, for fulfillment. I'd love to see a world like that, and I think blockchain and AI can bring forth that world.
Okay, so bringing that control and ownership back to the user, I guess. Cool. So this one is for Collin and Ben. Okay. So what role do we think the community plays here? So how can a community-driven approach help us achieve this open AI concept that we're talking about? And what does community-driven kind of mean in this context as well?
I mean,
Maybe I'll pass you the mic, I guess, so you can both discuss.
what does community-driven mean? So that's two questions. So like, what is a community-driven project? I mean, an open source community-driven projects are anyone can make a contribution, anyone can clone, anyone can fork, and go build their own competing system too, right? So it's enabling competition in the space, but also collaboration, right? And I think that's a key thing. I think we have those systems in place in blockchain where we have these DAO or DAO-like functionalities where people can vote and make decisions about how the future of that project itself and that GitHub. And I think we've built out those systems. So I think blockchain-enabled DAOs are a great way to put some governance around our AI systems. We hear a lot of people talking about, I think you said the word alignment, that dirty, dirty word. But alignment is, it comes off as this effective altruism, anti-technology vibe, but I'm a techno-optimist, and that's what Dabl.Club is all about. Like, let's push the boundaries. Let's go with AI. Let's release open source, and let's trust the world that they're not going to destroy the world with AI, right? Let's go. Sort of the LFG mentality is what I think Vitalik called it DACC, or decentralized acceleration. And so I want to accelerate technology. The way to do that is to inspire developers and give them the tools. Just as an example, and I guess this is my brag, is like we released a bot on our website. So you go to Dabl.Club, Dabl.Club, and we have a bot right there. Yeah, it's enabled with GPT-4 right now, but I'm working on switching to an open LLM. Right now, it'll help you read all the docs across all the blockchain technologies. So like the biggest hurdle is two things for community is like education for the developer. How do they learn what they need to learn to become a builder in the space? And then two, the tools that enable them to do that. So we launched this Dabl bot, and you can go and deploy smart contracts from the website. And I think we need that same sort of developer experience. I think you said DevX. DevX stands for developer experience. We need to deliver that so that you can have a community that can build. You got to lower that barrier to entry, and then the floodgates will come. Make it easy for developers who know JavaScript to get into Web3 or AI, and do the same thing for Rust. I think those are the two communities we probably have here. So I think it's about lowering the barrier. And then also, I think incentives, right? So communities usually drive around some value, and sometimes that value is has a monetary value. So what are your values? What are you trying to build? We're trying to build open AGI, so I think we probably all have that same value of like, we want to build an open source AGI so that we can. No one person controls it. So you don't have this board of directors that can fire the CEO and change the course of history, right? We need to have decentralized systems, so you can't just make a decision and someone's off the project now, right? I hope, I believe in Sam Altman and his vision, but also I think we need to have competing visions. So we need to have competition from the open source community. So community driven means it needs to be open source, and we need to lower the barrier so that anybody can do it. And even the non-developers in the room can learn to code. It's not as hard as it used to be, thanks to AI doing all the work for us. I let the AI do my coding for me now. So. Your turn.
I agree with just about all of that. I think that, like I said, there's models, AI, just like any other technology. You can view it as open source, something that anyone can iterate on, or you can view it as closed source, as an industry secret that needs to be guarded. In the closed source world, like some of the projects that were mentioned, the value comes in that secrecy, right, in retaining that secrecy. While a lot of these products are very cool, I think the trend in general is toward open source, even in Web 2. I just think open source models that have a much larger network effect and are more people looking at them, trained on open data, are going to end up more valuable than closed source models trained on proprietary data. So, I think that's a very natural, beneficial trend that the industry is taking for humanity. So the counter argument to that, I guess, would be the ease in which some of these closed source models are delivered to users. So, another thing that I personally believed is that bespoke models or the cost of training a model and developing your own model is going to go down over time and is going to be a lot less technically intensive over time, and just about anybody's going to be able to do it. That's another thing that we're trying to work on at Talus. But for right now, a lot of the really great UX is just in interacting with, for instance, like the ChatGPT API. You know, like businesses right now don't want to be dedicating resources to train their own model. They just want to point it at a repo and let the wrapper take over. So again, for this question about building community and making sure that open source wins out at the end of the day, I think the trends are positive, but it always comes back to just creating really great products that people want to use, and that people don't need to be incentivized to use. People don't need to be crypto maxis or hold bags to use. Just creating really, really great products that everyday people can use.
What about making it free? I think one thing we haven't talked about is free open source software, FOSS. And I think that's a key thing. In blockchain, we always have a fee. And I think we need to eliminate those fees to have people jump into this space, make it really easy for people. That's the other barrier, is money, right? So it's not just having the H100s. Having an H100 definitely is a challenge, and it prevents players from getting into the market, but also just like lowering the barrier to make it like absolutely free. So if we can create those resources for people, then we can have more builders in the space.
Yeah, one benefit of having permissionless infrastructure where anyone can build products is that the advantage, the advantage is not an industry secret, right? So whatever you created is more valuable than the technology itself that you built, right? Anyone can fork Bitcoin, anyone can fork Ethereum. What you can't fork is community and users and liquidity and a lot of these other things that make existing blockchain systems valuable. So I think that's a good thing. That's a better world where if you're creating something of value, it's probably unique to your team and the community that you've built, as opposed to just a technology that you're safeguarding.
I haven't heard the word DPIN on our whole talk, but I feel like DPIN has been like the underlying thing behind what we're talking about.
Thank you very much. Great stuff. So let's bring it all back. Let's bring it all together and discuss synergies, which is a pretty key thing that we've kind of covered here, right? How we can combine Web3 and AI and kind of, create some sort of benefit from it, right? So maybe this one could be for you, Lude. So we've discussed that there's potential synergies regarding Web3 and AI. And in relation to these synergies, Lude, why is it important that MagnetAI leverages the community-driven aspect of an open AI?
Yeah, sure. We believe the community aspect is super important. Obviously, you need all those technical components in place, for example, like a decentralized physical infrastructure to run and train models on. You need decentralized maintained code base and so on. But many people underestimate the power of the community. And when we're looking, especially in Web3, then every kind of success story written in Web3 is also a story of community. And that's why we are introducing this concept of ModelFi, which basically derives from already battle-proven systems like GameFi, SocialFi, or even DeFi, which basically brings different stakeholders together to provide a service, to create synergies, to create value. And all of this value will be equally and transparent, can flow back to the community members. And I think it's super important and shouldn't be underestimated. And I think that's why we think community is super important to make an open on-chain AI happen, because community in its own also holds itself accountable in some way or the other. And it's a nurturing process to actually build something with the community on your side, to involve them. And this also creates some acceptance and makes it more open for everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Lude. Thanks everybody on the panel. We've had some great insights, I think. And yeah, hopefully everybody took something away from this discussion. I really want to thank you all for listening and being so attentive. We really appreciate that. Just one thing before I let you guys go. We currently have the scavenger hunt on. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. There's a couple of flyers over on that table. It's basically just a way to get everybody engaged online and in person. And we're giving away some AirPods as well. You know, it's kind of like a competition entry almost. So if you need any more information on the rules, the flyers are at the back, and they're also on Twitter, on our Twitter page at MagnetAI XYZ. So feel free to check that out, and thank you all very much for coming. Enjoy the event.
We'd be happy to take some questions too if anyone wants to come up or so.
I just want to say this is a really exciting time to be right here because big companies are still afraid of AI. I was at MetaMask. They were afraid to launch an AI bot. They're trying to do AI inside the company and building their own like GPT wrappers and getting into it, but they're still far behind. If you're young or you're not young, I mean, you're new, not young. It doesn't have to do if you're young. I'm old, I'm full of gray hair. But like now is the time to build an AI company. It is like you have a leg up. We're still very early, and the big companies are still trying to figure it out. They're all hiring AI people, but like now is a great time to be flexible and be able to build with no guardrails.
Yeah. So yeah, that's MetaMask's loss, I guess, and our gain. So next thing is maybe the social hour. So obviously the next couple hours we'll be having drinks, some food. We invite you all to connect and interact, and yeah, we all hope to speak with you a little bit more in depth as well. So thank you once again.